Live. All righty. We good? We're good? All right. How is it going, everybody? You see, we're doing something a little bit different here today. It's just us three live, three of the four red shirts. How's everyone's day been?
That good, eh?
That good.
Busy half the day, slept half the day.
Sounds roughly about right.
Hey, I mean, I'm like I always say, I'm alive, so I can't complain.
And I only made it because Spencer called me while I was in bed.
I mean,
hey, he gave us permission to do this anytime, so he doesn't miss.
Because it's better. It's a lot better. I like the system a lot better, so I don't miss podcasts.
Exactly. And so, yeah, we have lots of fun stuff to talk about. We got Dune Awakening, did this little direct on Monday, and then we have there's an Xbox partner, what do they call it? Xbox partner
showcase
or something like that. Showcase, whatever it's called. That just happened today, as well as we also got some disappointing news. Something else cut from the terrible acts by that's wielded by Warner Bros. Discovery. But yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, lots of stuff to get into. I guess without further ado, we'll just go right into our picks of the week as this show begins. As always, Patrick, what is yours?
So, if you guys had not heard, just the other day, legendary wrestler Sting has officially retired. He has been in since 1988 wrestling. He's one of the older guys that's been around a very, very long time. And as everybody has said on social media, this man has deserved his flowers for years. He is 64 years old, and he was still wrestling strong at 64. And dude looks like he's still in his 50s. He's still in such well shape. He's had a very illustrious career. Every time he comes out, the fans love him because he's been so dedicated for so long. I was just talking with Gio before we started the broadcast. Sting's just one of those guys in the business that's always been one of the fan favorites. And I heard a quote from another professional wrestler. I forget which one exactly. They said he will probably go down easily as one of the top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time. Easily in that top 10 list, and I would agree. Just because he's had such a long career that's been so successful. And he generally hasn't had any weird periods where it's been like, nobody's liked him or anything. Like, every time he comes out, the fans accept him. They enjoy having him on screen. It's been fantastic. But he did retire officially in Greensboro, North Carolina on the last pay-per-view for AEW. And it was fantastic. And he did a tag team match with his partner Darby Allin, who did some crazy shit. And there was ladders, there were panes of glass, there were table smashes, all sorts of crazy things. And so both him, but mainly Darby Allin, got cut to shreds, and then after it was over, they had like a long speech that went almost 10 minutes long, just kind of giving this man all the love and appreciation for his many dedicated years to wrestling. Oh, did it switch on me?
All right, one moment. While he's fixing that really quick, I'll just make a quick comment on what Patrick's talking about. I'm somebody that doesn't give a crap about wrestling or anything, but Sting is somebody that it's one of the few names I actually know from the world of wrestling, so that's huge news.
Yeah, he goes beyond the brand. Every once in a while, you get these big name wrestlers, like Sting or John Cena or Dwayne Johnson. They go the extra mile, and maybe that's just because they become actors. A lot of them do end up becoming actors because you kind of have to sort of be an in-ring actor as a wrestler. You kind of have to build that persona, or you'll have these writers behind the scenes that are helping build up your wrestling persona, your character, and you kind of have to like read their scripts and their lines and learn it. So wrestling really is a lot like acting in the ring, even though you're not on, like a movie screen, you're on, TV instead, but it's basically the same idea. So these big name people, if they've been around long enough or their face gets big enough, they're gonna exude everything beyond the brand. And it's so cool to see this guy. He's been around since 1988, and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves on his way out the door. And his two sons actually came out on stage wearing two of his original outfits that he wore back in the day. So his two sons got to be a part of his retirement, which is really cool. Seeing those old school uniforms and designs that they had back in the day, and to have his sons be a part of that experience, I think that was really cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is something that I was very excited about as well. I'm, I guess nowadays I would say a casual wrestling fan, but
I'd say I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and knowing who Sting is, obviously from back in the day, when I heard him announce that he was going to have this final match on this pay-per-view, I already knew I was going to watch it, and yeah, I got to see the match, and it was very good for his last match. It gave me a feeling that I haven't had from watching wrestling in a long time, where it's just the only way I could describe it is just makes you feel alive. And they really, for, like you said, a 64-year-old man, you said? I didn't realize.
He's 64. Yeah, I didn't realize he was that old either.
He did an excellent job. Put in some crazy spots. Yeah, he was going through tables, went through glass, things like that. And he definitely gave it his all, like he said he would. Darby Allin, really got to give it up to him for what he really did as a I think that's the greatest tribute you can have, is just putting yourself out there like that.
Abusing your body to the extreme.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to put in just as much effort for your last match. So it was a great tribute like that. I can't even believe I was talking to you about this before the stream started, where Darby Allin literally, I think he did like a moonsault off of a table off of a ladder that was set up into the ring, outside of the ring, through a pane of glass that was being held up by a few folding chairs. And he just went right through the floor. And then you see like, it was insane, the amount of stuff they were willing to do. And yeah, so great match. And for a guy like Sting, yeah, I think he said it best as far as his legacy is concerned. I think one thing that's interesting about him, he was one of the few guys, not a whole lot of people can pull this off, but he was able to pull off the no sell with his character, where essentially, and you saw that in this last match, where essentially you would do like a move that you're like, okay, he's going to be out now. And he just shrugs it off like it's nothing. And not a lot of wrestlers can pull that off because it's considered kind of cheap in the world of wrestling. You want to sell.
Generally, you don't want to look invincible.
Yeah, you don't want to look invincible. That's cheap. But he was one of the few people that was able to pull it off in a convincing manner, where it helped his character. So that's like one of the many things he was really good at. But I saw that in this last match for sure. And
very few wrestlers can pull off the no sell, because you kind of have to write it into your character persona a little bit sometimes.
Well, because I know there's been the opposite end of the spectrum, where you got guys like The Rock, who no one sold the Stone Cold Stunner better than The Rock, where he literally did a friggin' flip after the end of it, and it just made it look like it was the greatest move. So yeah, shout out to big respect to Sting. There was a big minutes of people just saying thank you, Sting, over
the
and
whole
over
crowd
again.
just chanting thank you, Sting, over and over again. I mean, and you could see he was almost moved to tears at several points because of that.
So it was a good note for him to go out on.
And when you see a wrestler, like their actual real life person, kind of come out of their character, and you can see the emotion really on their face. There's a difference between like acting an emotion, like when you're like, shouting at other wrestlers in the ring, having that like dialogue and like the big back and forth, versus like real life emotion coming through. You can tell the difference. And that was definitely one of those moments you could tell the difference.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Very cool. That's cool. Yeah, Gio, you're next. What is your pick of the week?
All right. So my pick of the week this week is a new series that goes by the name of Shogun, and it's appearing on FX, Hulu, or if you're in Canada, you can watch it on Disney Plus. So Shogun's based on the 1975 James Clavell novel of the same name, which it sold millions upon millions of copies. It's received wide acclaim over the years. It's worth mentioning that this is actually the second adaptation of that novel. Some of you might remember the 1980 miniseries, which Clavell produced. According to the CBC, when it came out, it became the second highest rated miniseries in history with a audience of over 120 million viewers. So this new adaptation certainly has a lot to live up to. The story centers around a fictionalized version of the Warring States period in Japan, and it features characters which are like analogs for real historical figures. So, for example, Toranaga, that character is based on Tokugawa. The main character, John Blackthorne, he's based on William Adams. So essentially, it's a story of the first Englishman to visit Japan and how that factors into the ensuing power struggle there. So it's certainly a familiar story in 2024, not only with the direct adaptations, but other stories which have been inspired by it over the years. However, I think we were overdue for a new movie or show set in this period. So I was definitely looking forward to this when it was announced based on that. So as of the third episode, I'm very happy with the show so far. Does a good job of faithfully recreating the Age of the Samurai. Even if with it being a fictionalized story, it takes historical accuracy into account, at least to the extent that you can with something like this. It's never going to be perfect. But there's something about that time period in Japan that's always fascinated me, and I think this show does a good job of bringing that era back to life on the screen. It does manage to balance the storytelling with the action at a good pace, so it never feels boring, even with it being a dialogue-heavy show. The cast is great. Toranaga, he's played by Hideyuki Sanada, who you might remember from The Last Samurai. He was in The Wolverine, John Wick 4, Avengers Endgame, just to name a few. I was watching an interview where he stated that he had played Tokugawa in the past. So I think he was an excellent choice here. And as we've come to expect from his past work, he certainly delivers in this role. John Blackthorne, the main character, he's played by a guy named Cosmo Jarvis, and he has this really like over-the-top performance that was slightly off-putting at first, but it quickly grew on me. And 3 episodes in, I really appreciate his performance in the show. I think he does a really good job. So overall, without getting like super in-depth into the show, the best compliment I can give it is that after each episode, I can't wait to see the next one. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of the series. And it just does a really good job of making an engaging show set in that time period. So as of right now, there are 3 episodes out. There's going to be 10 in total, and it's a weekly release. So new episodes come out every Tuesday. So I would say check that out. It's like I said, it's out on FX, Hulu, or if you're in Canada, you can check it out on Disney Plus.
Awesome. Yeah, I got here in America. It's on Hulu, and I just got back Hulu just to watch that, but I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. It looks amazing. So very, very cool. That's awesome. So my pick of the week is going to be well, if you keep up with movies at all, there's this little movie that came out last weekend that I don't know if anyone's heard of. All right, but very small movie called Dune 2, which, holy crap, guys, this movie is absolutely amazing. I actually saw it a little bit earlier because of like the special like fan first screenings they did the Sunday prior, and this movie is just like, holy crap, where to begin with the praise of what I honestly think is going to be movie of this year, because it's just amazing. If you've watched the first Dune movie that came out 3 years ago, it picks up right off from that movie. No time gap, which I found. I was a little surprised that there wasn't a time gap at all, but it picks right off from that movie. And so if you're a fan of part 1, part 2 is it. it delivers. Part 1 sets up the dominoes, and then part 2 like makes them fall. You see where they go, and it's a fantastic movie. It feels, what I've related it to is like it's the Lord of the Rings of sci-fi, and so it does a great job of adapting that source material of being a visual specular. It's amazing, and so you have a great cast of characters here. You have Timothy Chalamet playing the main character of Paul Atreides, and he does a fantastic job because in this movie you see I'm not going to say anything, but you see everyone does a great job of portraying the characters so well. Zendaya playing Chani. You have Josh Brolin's back in this one playing what's his name? I lost his name, but anyway, and then there's a few like big notable mentions as well. You have Austin Butler playing Fade Rutha, who's absolutely like he plays a fantastic antagonist in the movie. Scary, his makeup job is done amazing, and like he does such a great job portraying this villain that you can just tell is like a freaking psychopath. And yeah, amazing cast. Yeah, the visuals are just amazing the entire time. The story's great. It does a great job of condensing down the story of what I honestly think is the must-see movie of the year. If you can, or if you have the availability to go to an IMAX screen near you, this is the movie to go watch on an IMAX screen. Because unlike a lot of movies, this movie is filmed for IMAX, meaning that the entire time you watch this movie, it takes up that whole like 4:3 ratio, which is amazing to experience on the big screen. And so, absolutely amazing movie. Yeah, it's so good. I could gush on for a long time talking about how great it is, and you can actually go over to Rebel Rock Radio where was it Monday? We recorded an episode talking about it, special episode over on Rebel Rock Radio. Actually, let me get the link to that really quick, and I'll post it for you all to check out later. And so, you'll see that there in the chat in just a moment. But we spent like 45 minutes, I think, just talking about Dune 2. There's a couple side tangents, but lots of talk on Dune 2 before we delve deep into all our praises for the movie. And long story short, go see it. And if you haven't watched the first one, go get Max and watch the first one because the first movie is also great. So, Ronnie J's in the chat asking, well, what's going on tonight? Well, this is our podcast where we talk about a lot of different news that's been going on. And so we have a few different things to talk about. We got, first thing we're going to be talking about ties right into what I was just talking about is Monday we also got a Dune Awakening Direct, as they called it, where they delved and talked a bit about this upcoming game called Dune Awakening, which looks great. Can't wait to talk about that here in just a moment. But then we also got an Xbox Partner Showcase today where we saw several different games. So we'll just be talking about what's coming out there. And then to end it off, we'll be talking about Rooster Teeth, where the axe has come for Rooster Teeth. So anyway, let's just get right into it. Talk about some Dune Awakening. Where to begin with this one as well, right? There's so much. Well, first off, it's a survival MMO made by the same people who made Conan Exiles. I haven't played this game. I know Chris has, but has Geo, Patrick, have either of you tried Conan Exiles?
Nope, didn't touch it.
No, I was going to. I think I might have it on Epic, and I've seen some other people play it, and I was like, "Oh, this kind of looks." My initial impression of the game was different than what it actually is, so it definitely looks like it's a lot of fun. I'll say that.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, they did a really good job, I think, of kind of just like letting was it like the lead designer or whoever was their director being able to like just be there and talk, which was really nice. I kind of just have pulled up here several of the big points that it kind of goes overall as far as like what they talked about, showed in the trailer. There's a lot of great stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a survival MMO. You start in just the sands of Arrakis, of just being a nobody, essentially. You have to build yourself up as you do in a survival game, beginning with nothing and just trying to find your way around, learning how to survive. And so the whole premise of the game, you're dealing with harsh conditions, scorching heat, thirst, sandstorms. You're on Arrakis. As you're having to like, it puts a focus on like, water management, resource gathering, item crafting, your typical survival sort of ideas here, right? Although water management is going to be like a bit bigger in this game though, because you're on a giant sand planet. So yeah, promising all sorts of different big things here. They're going to have a big focus on PvP elements. There's a lot of big base building that goes on. Visually, it does look great. That's for sure. And like the way that it sounds too is that you're going to be very open with ways you can build your character, which is pretty great as well. Such as like what kind of weapons, armor, vehicles your character can possibly use, or they talked at one point about all these different styles of combat. You put points into like these different combat styles to sort of like mix and match, like as if you're being like I don't remember the exact terminology, but you're going to have like your people that are better with like your melee weapons, like swords and stuff. You're going to have your people that are better with like your ranged weapons, like guns and stuff. But then you're going to have your special, like, what do you call the special, like, sisterhood mentat abilities, whatever
Bene Gesserit.
Yes, those abilities,
Yep.
like being able to mix in those sort of abilities. And so it's really great.
Spencer's just going to use the voice.
The voice. Yeah, no,
they're like, see if they use like voice trumpet where it like modulates your voice. You'd be like, get over here.
Get over here. Well, that's funny that you say that though, because something they highlighted though was talk about how you can mix and match some of these things, right? These combat styles. So they're like, well, something you can do is you could use your voice ability to bring somebody closer to you, so you could just stab them. So,
but do I get to use my actual voice when I use that? That's what I
probably not.
Because I would love to like queue up like, because it's an MMO, so if it had voice capability in there, I would love that. That'd be funny. And if not, it would still be funny if people use like voice changers, because they could play around with the voice changer and get the settings just right so it sounds just like the voice too.
Yeah.
That could be kind of funny.
Yeah. Welcome in, Kat. Good to see you here.
Hi, Kat.
Hope you're doing all good. But yeah, no, it sounds awesome, right? And so I was just looking at what else there is. Like I said, settlement construction, vehicle traversal across the desert.
Some cool vehicles.
One thing that they said is that you cannot kill the giant sandworms, as they're trying to make it a giant threat. Like they're trying to make it to where these things are terrifying. All right, if one of these are coming for you at the beginning, you have to just get to safety. And those are just the baby sandworms. Later on, as you get these big places, bases to be able to,
your base might get swallowed. I'm wondering.
Yeah, your crap can get destroyed for having to harvest spice. Right in that first movie, when
you could work 15 hours on a base and just game over. Start over.
It could be. I wonder if more of it's going to be also having to get your own spice factory. Well, it could be more focused on trying to get those, like being able to get a spice factory, like you see in Dune 1, where you see that big factory that they start trying to, it starts malfunctioning, and that's when you see like the first big sandworm in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'd imagine it's something like that to a degree. Maybe not as big because that feels really big, but
It looked like most of the
Same
bases
idea.
were near like the rocky sort of outcropping, so
Yeah.
that's generally where the worms don't go. So I think your bases
Right.
should be safe.
Right.
But if you
Rock
were to build your
or your
base in the
friend.
middle of the desert, it's probably gonna go.
Yeah. It
It's
sounds like a
probably
fun time
gone.
though. It's
But yeah, the amount
probably
of
gone.
vehicles kind of surprised me, honestly.
Yeah.
There was a
It'll be
lot of
cool.
fluff in this 24-minute presentation, I noticed. They showed a lot. They kind of skimmed through little things here and there.
Well,
They let the lead dev talk, but he said a lot, but it really wasn't a lot either. They kind of want to leave a little bit open for future presentations.
for sure. They just talked about a lot of what you can expect, but not exactly seeing it, right? One thing that stood out to me, and this is something that we've known about would be coming with this game, because it was covered like last year in like one of those like early development trailers we saw for it.
Yeah.
He talked about something that they finally just started getting to work, is this big feature of the game called the shifting sands. And what that is the idea of where the sands in the world will change every week. So certain points of interest, certain locations will get buried, while other locations may get revealed. So it'll be an ever-changing world is something that they're putting an emphasis on here. And so yeah, so that's something they just got working.
And that's actually smart for the game development in the future of the game, because as the game progresses, you'll get a new feel every time you jump in, so that'll keep people coming back. Whereas if it were a stale world where the sands just stayed where they were forever and it just was what it was, I think people would play through the game in about a few weeks and they'd be like, okay, on to the next game.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That's
very
just
cool
how
to
it
see.
goes. And with the MMO, they needed it to have legs for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And hearing that, while I haven't played Conan Exiles, I've heard good things about it. So it sounds like a very good base of experience that they have there. And they're just sounding, their vision for this game honestly sounds ambitious. And that's what I like to hear, right? Trying to take this beloved IP and then make it into something bigger, trying out great ideas, trying to push the boundaries of what can be done in these kind of games, like the Shifting Sands. Having this big emphasis on the sandworms is like, it's going to feel big on top of what you already have in these big survival MMOs. And so I think that's going to be awesome. Beta in Unreal Engine 5. It looks absolutely amazing. The little bits of gameplay we did see.
They're fantastic. It's scary how good it looks.
Yeah, it looks so good.
And of course, me being the flight sim guy, when I saw the ornithopter combat, I was like, oh!
Right.
It's like, yes!
What stood out to me, too, is that one thing, too, of where it's like, there's that one shot where he was like repairing the ornithopter, and I wonder if you have to actually
he was, like,
control
doing
your
maintenance
thing to like being able to do that.
See, I couldn't tell if it was a repair or if he was like scrapping one that was down. I got to go back.
It
and
was
look
like
at
a
it.
repair, it seems like, because it seemed like he was like fixing on the
It
joint.
looked like
Is
he
what
was
it looked like to
welding.
me.
He was like
Yeah,
welding.
yeah.
And I was like,
wonder
that's
if
so cool. You'll be able to work on them.
I wonder if you'll be able to be able to trace things like that, just a little details like that. And so
I wonder if you could trace a design into the side of it and it would stay. like burn something into the side of it. That'd be like a meme or something.
gotta be able to put on your stickers, onto your ornithopter.
Yes, designable stickers, because I could see the community doing some wild like custom design work. Like you'll get killed by some dude with like a SpongeBob paint job, and you're like, what the heck, man?
It's funny. But yeah, I think it's a lot of promising details in this game. And so it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good. I can't wait for it. It's one of the games that like
we still don't have a release date, correct?
No, it's one of those things though. Take as much time as you need for something like this, It just sounds great. So if they can deliver on making something like this, they put an emphasis on putting big emphasis on playtests, taking their time to get everything right with player feedback. And so that's what I like to hear. They're taking their time to make something that I think should hopefully be great, memorable, and have a really good run. Do you have any thoughts on this, Gio?
I haven't really seen any of the. I don't think I've seen anything for this game so far, but the way you guys are making it sound, I'm certainly open to it, and I'm certainly going to check out some footage and see. So it's not one that I'm certainly excited for, but I'm definitely open to it. If it's good, I'd be willing to play it.
Yeah, so like he was saying, they're using the new Unreal Engine 5 technology. And I know in this presentation, the lead developer, he keeps bringing up constantly in the presentation, they really emphasize the Lumen side of Unreal Engine with all the lighting effects. And Spencer will attest to this from what we saw in the footage. The lighting is insane in this this preview. It's fantastic. Like it looks so realistic. Like you feel like you could really jump into the world of Dune. Or it in a lot of ways they made it feel exactly like the movies. I'm sure for you, Spencer.
I was expecting like visuals to still being kind of in like a more work in progress state, but as they look right now,
Same.
they look.
It looks like it's
really
ready to
good.
come out next week. Like if they wanted to drop it next week, I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm game.
I'll say this: visually, it looks more polished than like other AAA games that's closer to release. Now, that's not saying much because
Even some in Unreal Engine
but...
5. You know, there's plenty of Unreal Engine 5 games out there that they still kind of look like not even close to ready for release.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks great though. I cannot wait. Like I said, I'm a huge Dune fan. New-ish Dune fan. I read the book for the first time before the movie that came out a couple of years ago, and so since then, though, I've been like a big fan getting into it, reading a couple more of the books, and obviously, we got this great new movie that just came out. It is an absolute fantastic time to be a Dune fan right now. Or if you're not, great time to get into the franchise. Go watch the new movies.
And Timothy Chalamet is just riding such a high right now as well.
Oh yeah,
in general.
he's doing a great job.
He's getting up there. I wonder if he or any of the other cast members are involved in this game in any way, like voiceover work potentially. That'd be interesting to see as we learn more about the game. Because I know they keep mentioning constantly about how they pulled a lot from the book and they also pulled a lot from the design of the movies. So it would be really cool to see. Maybe they did get some of the cast members to come over and voice, but that all just comes down to budget because I know it's hard to hire actors, even as voice actors.
Especially someone
I imagine they probably top profile
like that.
especially.
We're talking about a crazy cast,
but you know the game industry is getting really tight on money here lately. We've seen a lot of layoffs. So if I had to be a guessing man, I would probably bet on probably not. They probably just hired
just be its own thing
out of the industry. It's a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see. They might throw us a curveball. They might surprise us with a nice voiceover cameo.
We'll see what Easter eggs we will get. So yeah, it looks like an awesome game. Anyway, we got lots of other games to talk about now. Kind of just quickly go through. We got this Xbox partner preview. That's what it was called.
Yep.
And so they showed off a bit of things here, showing off keyword here's partner, so nothing mainly from Xbox
major
themselves. However, I think we got a good mix overall of some stuff that's coming to Game Pass. We got a few new looks at new games. We got a few looks at several looks of things that are completely new.
I saw one game that had been shown before.
Yeah, we got a few games that have been shown before, but expanded on a bit more. Good bit of stuff here. So, yeah, let's just start going through these games as it's shown here on this article of where we first got that image that you see on screen shows all the games kind of like in the order they were shown, but through the article they don't order it that way, which bugs the crap out of me, but hey, it is what it is. We'll just carry on. So first off, we know Xbox has been trying to get more JRPGs on Xbox, right? Trying to help grow that Japanese or just Asian fan base in general. And so anyway, we know Final Fantasy 14 is a big get that Xbox is getting, and they we now have an official launch date for Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox.
Better late
March
than never.
21st. Better late than never. You know what's
The game's
crazy?
been out for how many years now?
You know, it's crazy. Yeah, Xbox finally gets a Final Fantasy game.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
how it'll work on consoles. We will see.
Well, it's been on PlayStation. Like, it was a PS4 game,
Yeah.
so it'll be fine. Like, it's
If it's
technically a game
PS4
of a
game, yeah,
previous
we'll be fine.
generation. It's a game of a previous generation, and so it'll be fine. It's more of one of those things of where it's just gonna have an interesting. It will have an interesting. It has an interesting control scheme because of being able to like do all these different combinations with only so many buttons. Because you have to think about how many buttons a controller has versus a PC.
And I'm wondering with it
obviously
being
it'll
on Series X if it'll have mouse and keyboard support, because that could be fantastic as well.
I bet it would be, which would be awesome.
Because that would make it a lot easier because you'll just be able to use the PC commands instead.
Yeah. They did reveal something big here as well, which I was completely surprised by, is if you're a Game Pass Ultimate member for a limited time, March 21st to April 19th, you get to start playing Final Fantasy 14 online with the starter edition of the game. So that is a great way to get Xbox community, try to get them into Final Fantasy right there.
And there's a beta right now.
Beta right now as well. Exactly.
Go check it out.
Go check it out. Indeed. Yeah, that's a huge deal for Xbox right now. Because at least they'll be able to get one of the big Final Fantasy games. We'll see about the others.
I'm sure 16 will come over eventually.
16, maybe. 16 is a possibility unless Sony like negotiates something.
It's more Square Enix than Sony, but yeah, you never can't tell with them. And Sony's their main. That's where their main selling base is. So they're going to keep a lot of the stuff.
There was news that just came out. Well, not news. Rumors that Sony negotiated with Square that the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is going to be PlayStation exclusive now, as far as consoles go. Well, now there's a good chance that we could see Rebirth on PC in like a year or into the next year or something like that.
Apparently, it's like a year to 2 years. I think is the waiting period.
I think it's like a year, but we'll probably see that on PC. But as far as consoles go, supposedly PlayStation negotiated exclusivity, but that's just a report that came out today. We'll see if that's true. However, I'd say there's a good bit of viability to it because look at how old Final Fantasy VII Remake is, and still hasn't quite been on Xbox.
Making dumb, stupid money over there on PlayStation, and even if they released it on Xbox, the PlayStation sales would still be higher, in my opinion, just because Sony and Square Enix have been like this pretty much since the 90s.
They've been super close,
side by side, super close. Did we get a few Final Fantasy games finally on Xbox? Yes, we did. But is the whole catalog there? No.
No.
And that's okay. That's one of those ones I'm like, okay, yep, Sony, you can have that one. That's okay. And I know you've been enjoying that over there on PlayStation.
Stay tuned.
Have you got into Rebirth yet?
Yeah, stay tuned for a future pick of the week. Anyway, going onwards, we got this cool. We've seen this game before, but like it was one of those games that was shown off, and I got the impression of like, what the crap are we looking at? But now we actually got like an in-depth gameplay look at it of Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess.
Yeah, this is one we had seen from Capcom. I think we had seen this at 2 different showcases previously. I know we saw one at an actual Capcom presentation. I want to say that was... what was that? Was that Games Fest, maybe?
Do not remember, but I remember
it might have been Games Fest. It was like
it may have been their own thing around June because Capcom does do their own things, like trying to be a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, and then I think I could have sworn we saw it again around August for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, they've been showing this game. They've been really trying to tease it. I think it's because it's a little bit of a harder sell of a game, because it's so niche. So they're really trying to push it.
It's a smart idea for them to have something like that be on Game Pass day one. And when I was watching this, when I was watching this, I was like, you know, this could be cool because it reminded me of like those old action RPGs that we don't necessarily like get as much anymore, like the classic God of Wars. But then you start getting into this big tactical gameplay element of it, you know, like being able to send out people to help you fight. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. This looks like really cool. Like I'm actually kind of like looking forward to this. So I'll probably check this out whenever it comes to Game Pass. With
It kind of
no
gave me a
date,
little bit
but,
of a
you know.
Warriors vibe now that we've seen more of the gameplay finally. So that was kind of cool with the tactics
I
side of
kind
it.
of see that actually. No, I wasn't
It's different
necessarily thinking about it, but I could get that
in a
vibe.
Capcom sort of way, and the boss fighting definitely still has that little touch of Monster Hunter to it, obviously,
Yeah.
because it is Capcom after all. Um, but yeah, it's interesting enough. I think this is one of those games. I don't think it's going to be a quick pick up and play. Like you're going to get on and play for 15 minutes. You're definitely going to have to work your butt off in this game. But I think it'll have enough that you're going to want to keep coming back to play more and more of it. And the art style is, you can't say the art style is not unique because it's very unique.
Yeah, it's interesting because even with the trailer, which does show some gameplay, I'm still a little confused as to how I'm trying to see how the game's going to go, what the core gameplay loop's going to be, and it's not entirely clear with this trailer. But there's that
They
being
haven't
said,
really been clear over any of the previews they've shown for this game.
yeah, because I'm
what's
trying to
that
decide if
part
I
of
want
it?
to be invested in this or not. And there's a lot of cool stuff that I'm seeing. The idea of rescuing the villagers and recruiting them,
Yep.
and then you basically they become part of your team. Like that looks really cool. And then there's some nice stuff that they show in the trailer as far as the gameplay goes. But I still have more questions. But which I feel like could have been answered in this trailer. But that being said, there's some nice stuff there.
Yeah, and I think we'll be getting a little bit more of a preview probably since it says it's coming out later this year. It's probably going to be I'm personally guessing since it's March, it'll probably be a fall release somewhere in that September, October, November window. Which with the monsters and things you'll be fighting, that might actually be a better fall Halloween sort of game anyways. Do you guys have any guesses on when that? Do you think that's coming around then? Do you think maybe it's coming out closer to Christmas? Like, what are you guys feeling about that?
It's definitely like I'd say around the last quarter, if not last quarter, like September. So we'll see. We shall see.
When do you think we're getting our next preview for this game, like a final preview before launch?
I'd imagine Capcom would do their own special big preview thing before it. Well, we are getting to see more of it actually March 7th, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. So maybe it is actually coming out a little bit closer than we thought, possibly.
We'll see. We'll see what more. It's Capcom Highlights Day 1, and it's like a 2-day event thing they're doing.
Maybe we'll get a date tomorrow then.
Tomorrow.
So we'll have to tune in tomorrow.
Possible. Before we carry on, I just want to welcome Griffin in the chat. Good to see you here, buddy.
Griffin, what's up?
Yep. Next game, we got a big cinematic trailer for the Sinking City 2. Has anyone played the first game?
No, I hadn't even heard of it till today.
Really? Well, it's a game that I'd actually like to play because it seems really cool because it mixes like a lot of Lovecraftian like mythos, and so we just got this fancy cinematic trailer for it, which looks cool. Showing the Lovecraftian city of Arkham, and like we got. I'd imagine if you're a big Lovecraft fan, you could pinpoint a lot of the teases of different things. Like I could tell there's all these different things they tease in this trailer that I just don't quite know because I haven't read any Lovecraft stuff, even though I'd like to. And so I think for any fans of the first one, it probably excited them seeing where the story could go, and I need to get around to getting that first game so I can play it sooner than later.
So for the first game, though, I'm just reading the article. It says the long-awaited sequel is evolving into a full-on horror game. So was the first game not so much in the horror direction as this one is?
Good question, actually.
Based on this trailer, at least.
Because a good question.
I hadn't played the first one. This trailer looks good, or it's cinematic, right? But it looks interesting.
I'm looking at what this game's called. Categorized as open world. Maybe my guess would be maybe having less of an action feel.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm
Probably
not
more
familiar with
story
this game.
driven in this one.
We'll see. It'll be interesting.
I'd
It
like
is
to
a
see
game
more.
I've wanted to check out. Yeah, for sure. It does. I like seeing the Lovecraftian stuff, so we'll see. We shall see.
I was just looking at the release dates for the first game. It said it came out June of 2019. Originally for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yes.
It came out in September of that year for Switch. February 19th, 2021 for PS5. I'm assuming they did a like a graphics
Yes.
update.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
And
seen it.
then Xbox
Like on
April
sale. I
28th,
thought about it.
3 years ago. So yeah, it is available on all platforms pretty much, except I don't see. PC is on here, isn't it? No,
Yep,
PC.
it's on Steam.
Oh yeah, Windows. Yeah. Okay.
It's on Steam. I just wishlisted it on there in case I want to get it on there. Oh, that may just be a console game.
I wonder if it's on sale. It's been out for like 5 years. You might be
Not
able to
on
get it
Steam. No. So when it does go on sale, it has a really good sale price because I always see it
Okay.
like when they do big sales. I see it there, and
Maybe
it's
we'll
caught
check
my
it out.
eye because it's part of like bundles with the different Sherlock Holmes games that I'd like to get. So okay, next game. Well, actually, it's an expansion pass for a game. Persona 3 Reload. We got this expansion pass where
Don't tell Will.
don't tell Will.
My friend Will is
No, he's not
the
here. We're
biggest
safe.
Persona fan.
We're safe. Well, you know what's awesome about this? I haven't played Persona 3 Reload. It looks cool. It's a game that's on my the playlist because it does look really good, even though I personally like to get into Persona 5 more. But with this one being on a Game Pass and this one, now with it, I felt like this is a big deal. Having an expansion pass of a third-party game also now being with Game Pass, I feel like is a big deal here. So you're essentially getting the ultimate version of this game where you barely see that with third-party games on Xbox. And so seeing you being able to also get this expansion pass has me heavily thinking like, well, maybe I will actually check this out now since I can play the whole thing now on Game Pass.
Yeah. And if you've never been into Persona games, I personally haven't, but from my friends who have, just a heads up, you will dump hundreds of hours into each game.
Yes.
Like that's just how Persona is.
I've heard both 3 and 5 are good entry points, so either one are good. So.
3 and 5 are good entry points. 4 is not, but apparently 4's just got a really good story and really good action, but not a good entry point. So yes, pick 3 or 5. 3 is an older title. This is just like a remastered. They rebuilt the whole game from the ground back up again for a modern era. So it's brand new. It's shiny. It looks really, really good. This new edition and this expansion pass looks actually very interesting. Introduces some cool new characters, cool new weapons and attacks and things like that were very intriguing. I think the Persona crowd will eat this up, hands down, no questions asked. They will throw their entire wallet at Atlas. So and of course, there's always a win for Team Sega. You got to give them a round of applause for that. Anything Sega that does, if they're doing anything good in the modern era, that's a win for us. Now do Sonic next.
Hey! We got that Sonic X Shadow Generations, and that's made by the main Sonic team. So I'm looking forward to that.
I will hold my resolve until we get a better look.
We'll see.
I'm not a huge Sonic fan, but from what I hear from the Sonic crowd is they've not been pleased the last few years, like with the brand in general, the direction they're going with it.
So the big problem with a lot of the ports of Sonic's quick side tangent is that Sega, for whatever reasons, outsourced a lot of them. That's the reason why Colors didn't do so well. That's the reason why the Origins collection had problems at launch. It's all because of these outsourcing for projects that Sega.
So if they go back in-house, maybe Sega go back to the in-house.
Yeah, so that's the big thing about this is Sonic X Shadow Generations is developed in-house by the main Sonic team.
Good,
So.
good. That's all I gotta say. Good.
And so that has Sonic fans like super excited for, because they're like, oh,
Yes.
this means that we hopefully shouldn't get another Colors again.
Or hopefully not another Sonic 06. Yeah, we don't need that again.
Colors is on the Colors HD that came out. Original Colors is great, but when you have a game where you port it to new hardware and it runs even worse than original hardware, that's a problem.
Let's not talk about the Switch launch of that game. Oh, I
All
heard
right,
nothing
anyway,
but terrible things.
Next game. We got a Stalker Legends of the Zone trilogy.
I didn't realize there were multiple Stalker games. I must have been just way out of the loop when I saw this. I was like, "There's 3?"
I'm not quite sure how they all link together. But
I think this is just like a bundle pack. They're bundling all the games in
yes,
one.
it's all together. Me and Chris did talk a little bit about this earlier, and he brought up a really good point here of like, why isn't this a thing on Xbox? Oh my god, on Game Pass. Considering one of the big games Xbox is hyping up for later this year is Stalker 2.
2, which is kind of funny. So that makes me feel like this isn't really it is, but isn't. It should really be called Stalker 4.
I wonder if this is one of those cases, I could be wrong, to where it's
maybe they broke one game up into 3 parts.
2 of them are like standalone expansions or something like that for the first game.
That might make a lot more sense.
Because they all,
because back in PC they did that stuff way back in the day.
Like that was a big thing with like the older, like I'd imagine around the same era, like the old like Warhammer Dawn of War games. They have these
late
different
90s
expansions that are
early to mid 2000s. Yeah,
like looking like different games, even though they like another part of the same game or something like that.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's
whole
I
era
think it's
was
great to see
interesting.
this on consoles though. Yeah. It's great to see this on consoles though. So, although I do agree with Chris's statement, I wish it'd be on Game Pass so I could. It'd get me more excited for Stalker 2 coming out. I will say though, this
And
is
I'm
something
wondering
where
if
on
it's
PC,
because of the stuff going
yeah.
on in Ukraine with the development team. Maybe they're trying to help raise money. That might have something to do with it. I'm not sure.
I feel like this is outsourced to somewhere a bit different. I could be
they
wrong.
let them do the upgrades on someone on the graphics and the port and all that. Yeah, that would probably make more sense.
Because in this day and age, we have most of these ports are outsourced for better.
Generally, yes. Generally. And
so I'm just looking to see if it mentions who is behind this.
Yeah, I want to know if it's the original team or if it's a different team that's doing the port.
It's Game World who's doing it. I don't know.
Okay, so that's not the original team. I don't think that's a team that does ports typically, as I recall.
Yes. And Shadow Drop, it came out today.
It did come out today. Do we have a price on that game yet?
$40 or $20 individually.
Oh wow, for old games? Come on, guys. I guess because it's in a bundle, they're like, yeah, we can get away with $40.
Trying to get on that hype of the new game coming out. Of people.
I wonder if people are gonna wait They're gonna wait like 1 year or like right before the new game drops. They're gonna be like, okay, we'll put it on Game Pass. Be like, okay, yay!
There is a big thing though of where for consoles though it has all these new controls, new layouts though, so they really helped it become a better console experience.
Modernized it, yeah.
Help modernize a bit of it, which is very important.
Did you see anything in here, Gio, that piqued your interest?
Was any game in particular, or
any of the ones from this trilogy they showed off, or was it just kind of like, hey, that's cool?
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason I just never bothered trying any of those games. Maybe I should now. Nothing. I don't know why. Like, there's no logical reason. It seems like it would be right up my alley, but just never ended up trying them. So this could be the opportunity for that.
Yeah, I never played them either.
Yeah, it's on my list of stuff I'd like to check out sometime, but never got around to it. I may still just get it on PC, but It's tempting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, next what game we got? This one actually looks
Creatures.
cool. What?
It's the next one, right?
It is called Unknown 9 Awakening.
Oh, I must be out of different order here. Okay.
We're looking at the article posted.
Okay.
That looks cool. So a cool new game shown off. This looks pretty cool actually. Like I was looking at this, I was like, this looks cool. Yeah, it just says summer this year.
It's
this year?
interesting from what they're seeing, showing. Seems like it's based around these powers of being able to inhabit the bodies of the enemies. And the gameplay they show at the end, it's like it looks like it's. I don't know how much of that is gameplay, but it really reminded me of like almost like a Super Hot or something like that, or like a Quicksilver from the X-Men films, where she's hopping from body to body and setting up this big combo, and then at the end it all plays out. So like I don't know how that will work, if it'll work just like that in the game, but it definitely looks good in this trailer.
Yeah, trailer made it look pretty appealing.
It felt very unique in the way the attacks chain up as well. I noticed. I typically don't see stuff like that in other video games, so it's very unique in general. So I don't think this is probably one I would play right away, but very interesting to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It does look neat. So credit due to things that look cool. Next game is one that we've seen several times now, seemingly. A few times at least now. Called Tales of... Oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher this. Tales of Kinzara Zao. This game... It was... I remember I had a big appearance at the Game Awards because we had the actor who's mainly involved with this introduce it, and so we got a better gameplay look at it, I feel like, and it looks really solid, I think, for that kind of game. Looks... yeah. You all have any thoughts on it?
Looks like a pretty decent platformer. I'm not so much into those games as much as I used to be, but I think if you're still into that, then yeah, this could definitely be something to look forward to.
For sure. Yeah, I think it looks solid.
Yeah, this one didn't really pique my interest as much. It was kind of cool. I definitely got some Prince of Persia vibes from this one.
I need to play that in one.
Yeah, it feels and looks a lot like that. So it's got that Metroidvania sort of feel to it. I definitely got a little bit of Metroid Dread out of it for sure. So yeah, if you like those sorts of games, I think you'll dig this one. It's a platformer as well. So yes, I think that's right up those people's alley.
Yeah, for sure. It comes out in a month and a half. April 23rd, and it's an EA original, so it'll mean eventually it'll be an EA vault of Game Pass Ultimate
sometime before 2025.
We'll see.
Only reason I say that is because Jedi Survivor's still not an EA play.
We'll see. Next thing's a Roblox thing. Does anybody care about this?
I hope not.
I actually thought the Chucky part of this was actually kind of funny as hell. If you just watch it for that alone, it was hilarious because he's jumping on the Roblox characters' backs and he's just stabbing them in the neck. I was that is so freaky and so hilarious. At the same
not
time.
Exactly their target demographic, eh? It's people who would have
who
know who
kids
Chucky is
playing Roblox and there's just knife stabbing. It's
doesn't he have sex in one of those movies? I haven't
probably.
Seen...
Yeah. That's not.
He does something messed up anyway.
Yeah. But you don't think creepy horror movie and Stabby McStab goes well with the children's game?
Absolutely not.
But hey, to each their own. It looked hilarious. I thought it was funny to watch.
Plus, we have a big Five Nights at Freddy's one coming too that got leaked. So horror and Roblox, a match made in heaven, apparently.
It's birthday
Oh
time.
yeah, I didn't think about that. They might be going after the Five Nights at Freddy's kind of crowd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that FNAF money just keeps backing in the money truck.
That's where they're going with this.
They got him with that lore. That lore is going deep.
All right. Next game. This one actually looked cool. Another new game that we saw.
Yeah.
Got revealed called Creatures of Ava. About like taming creatures, and it just seemed like a cool art style it had. I do, to the point Gio was making in one of the earlier games. I'm not 100% sure of the gameplay loop of this game, but it looks very cool. Just the way you interact with some of the creatures and explore through this world, and so it seems good. It looks like a very nice, chill game to play, and I don't know. Sometimes I think you just need a game like that. We could just turn it on and like you feel like playing something, but not like shooting things or slashing things. And here you go.
It's
go
a
around
cozier
and
version of Pal World.
I'm not sure about that, but
Because you got your Pokemans, and there's no slashing or dashing or having them just battle raiders attacking your village.
Yeah, really didn't show like almost any gameplay, so it's like there's not really.
well, they showed
Yeah.
bits of it. I feel like,
Yeah,
but
I think they'll give us more on it shortly. I think.
I mean,
Okay,
Game
what I
Pass
definitely
later this
go
year.
on with this one.
Game Pass later this year. We'll see what happens.
Cozy
we got-
August game.
Yeah, cozy August game, maybe possible.
Yeah.
We'll see. Next is we got another new game reveal. Monster Jam Showdown. Woo!
Monster
we
Jam.
need another Monster
Woo!
Jam.
This Sunday.
Monster Jam, yay!
Sit down your little 7-year-old and let him play some Monster Jam.
There you go. That's definitely the vibe I got. Is it seemed like
There
a
you
very
go.
basic racer game, and I don't know. It definitely be.
I don't
good
know.
for the
Maybe it'll be like
audience.
Hot Wheels. Maybe it'll be like that surprise, like Hot Wheels, and you're like, yeah, we got to play it. It's so good.
Hot Wheels, I was excited for. All right, this one looks boring, but
There
hey,
has
it's
to
Monster
be-
Jam.
You have to
Let's
be able to
go.
like crush other cars and stuff like that.
I want to crush
really-
Geo's car.
Like I remember, I don't know if you guys ever played Destruction Derby on PlayStation, I believe. And that
Nope.
was one where it was like fun because you had even if you didn't care about racing, there was a little destruction derby mode where you smashed each other up. If there's a monster truck game, I better damn well be able to crush some cars or something.
We can burn some
doing?
stress by ramming each other.
Yeah, if you can't do that, what are we doing?
Exactly.
So
yeah, it doesn't.
hopefully
we'll
that's
see.
in there.
We'll see.
I just need to hear Chris. Like, if there's like a battle mode where all four of us could play, I just want to hear Chris go, "Are you ready to rumble?"
Oh, no.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, next game on this list actually looks really cool though, called The Alters.
This game was wild.
It did look wild. This is one of the ones that definitely stood out the most to me.
Me too.
Seeing here it says it's a blend of adventure, survival, base building elements. Specifically base building of like first thing I thought was like Fallout Shelter.
That was the same thing I thought.
Yeah. And you're having
I
to make
was
these
hoping that wasn't the
choices.
case. I like base
it's like,
building, but I don't want to do that again.
It's like the BioShock level of like character interaction.
The
You
space
get out of like a Mass Effect or a KOTOR, like where every decision kind of matters. But it meets Fallout Shelter, meets Dune Awakening, Weird Planet Survival, and it's all stored in a giant General Grievous wheel.
The space exploration looks fantastic, like in terms of the
Yes.
variety of
It
environments
looks cool.
and
It
stuff.
looks really
like,
cool.
Yeah.
The visually it just looks. Some of the shots they showed look stunning.
The graphics were insane. It's cool because you can like
Yeah.
explore outside, but then when you get to the wheel, it's almost like the wheel is its whole separate environment.
Yeah,
So it
looks
really
great.
feels like two very different games.
Yeah, it does look great. Looks great indeed.
I think I'll play that one day one for sure.
Yeah, coming to Game Pass, I believe.
Do
Yeah,
we have
Game
a date
Pass.
on that one?
I do not think so. No.
I think that was probably late or just later 2024.
No date at all. It just said coming to Game Pass Series X and Windows.
So that'll probably end up being beginning of 2025 or summer
very
2025.
good
It's
chance
going to be
it'll
far
that year.
off. It'll be far off. They want to make sure that game's polished.
I was about to say, that being said, though, they deserve it because it looks like a cool blend of things that we've seen before, but not put together in this way. So it could be pretty cool to see.
It's so unique.
Yeah. Okay, next game, the first Berserker Kazan, based on the DNF Dungeon and Fighter universe. I'm not familiar with that universe.
Neither.
Anyone here know it now? Okay.
I've heard
Geo,
of
do you
it,
know it?
but I haven't delved into any of it.
Yeah, me neither. This game looks solid though.
Absolutely. Looks right up my alley, that's for sure.
I was watching this and I was like, first thought was like, this was cool. Second thought was, this also looks like the kind of game Geo would be into. So yeah, it does look neat. I agree. I'm not sure what new stuff it adds to like that sort of action genre that this goes into, but it looks solid though. So we'll see.
Cool visual effects I saw during that looks like it would appear during combat.
Yeah.
But beyond that, the art style looks pretty good. But yeah, we need to see more. But yeah, it's
solid
definitely
though, overall.
I enjoyed watching Sephiroth's cousin in some crazy combat.
Sephiroth's cousin. What's his name?
Steve.
Steve.
Crazy blonde anime samurai looking dude named Steve.
His full name is Steve Roth.
They call
Steve
him
Roth.
Oh my!
Yeah. Sephi Roth. Steve Roth.
Oh my gosh!
Oh god!
Now I need the two of them on a T-shirt.
This sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit of like Sephiroth gets a job at the office. Steve Carell's office.
To one day, his cousin gets hired.
God damn it, Steve! I told you.
Sephiroth goes undercover. Steve Roth.
It's like Undercover Boss.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh. All right. That was good, guys. Next game, we got Frostpunk 2 coming to PC Game Pass, July 24th. I've never played Frostpunk. It seems cool. I don't think it's the kind of thing I could get into, even though I always look at it. What about you all?
I
know Patrick won't be able to play it.
Yeah, I've played the first one. It's a fun game. I think the biggest problem with it is you never really feel a sense of accomplishment in terms of there's always a new problem. So it's like a city building kind of game, and you always have these existential threats in terms of like extreme weather, and you got to have enough power, enough heat for everybody, and you're trying to fix and then you got to deal with internal conflict in your city. So it's really fun, but then I feel like in those games you eventually reach a point where you're like, okay, everything's sustainable, and I feel like you never really reach that point in Frostpunk. It's just, which maybe it's by design, like they want you to feel on edge, and it's more about like how far can you get before you die. But that's kind of what put me off of playing the game more, was that whole just never feeling like I had reached that point. And so
you almost need an in game, almost.
Yeah, so that brings us to the second one. It's like, okay, how much of is it just more of the same and just better, or are they how much are they changing in this one? That's what I wonder. Because I know in sometimes in a sequel they can listen to that fan experience and be like, oh, okay, well, people didn't like this about the first one, maybe
Yeah.
we'll change it.
Mhm.
Or like I said, if it's by design, they're like, okay, we want to keep this as a core element of the game. That's what I'd be interested in knowing about this one. But yeah, the first one was definitely fun. I just couldn't, after so many hours of it. It was, let's put it like this, like for if you want to know if it's worth playing, I had at least 2 or 3 sessions where it was like almost 8 hours, maybe, like straight playing
Wow.
the game. But then after, like I said, after doing that a few times, then I was just like, okay, I still feel the anxiety that I first felt at the beginning of the game.
So you saw the trailer today and you're like, no more anxiety, no. Not again. I can't go down this rabbit hole again.
Oh. Well, it's
But
like,
are you gonna check this one out, Gio?
I might. I'll keep my eye on it.
Just promise me
Game
you won't be
Pass.
as anxious, buddy.
Oh, if it's Game Pass, that would help even more. Like
Yeah, it's PC Game
It
Pass.
is. July 24th, PC Game Pass.
Something with an actual tangible date.
Yeah, well, that gives me even
Yeah,
more
one
reason
of the
to check
two
it out.
things. One more game here. We got
Mhm.
the announcement trailer for the game called Sleight of Hand. It was just a big cinematic trailer. This is kind of like the one trailer that I had
Yeah.
a problem with because it's
It's all
visually it
cinematic.
was cool, but we got nothing. Like at least
I
as far
got
as
something out of
city-
this that I might actually have for you, Spencer.
What's that?
The main girl in the trailer was throwing down cards the entire time with abilities, which like for like card-based games that are strategy-based, that's sort of
Mhm.
kind of up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, I like here's the problem. All right, they call it a stealth game,
Mhm.
and I typically am not a huge stealth fan. Now,
That's true.
since
That's
it
true.
is,
She
is this
looks a
coming to
little
Game
bit like
Pass?
the Joker
I
too.
think it's coming to Game Pass.
It should be
Yeah,
on
it is
Game
coming
Pass.
to Game Pass. It is coming to Game Pass. So like maybe I'll check it out depending on how it looks. It depends on the level of stealth that's in it. Because I'm not a huge stealth fan. I'm not. But like
Yeah.
the world here looks cool though. How you could use the card. Like here's the thing: if you use
We need
cards in
gameplay
the
to see how the
way-
cards work.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
what would intrigue me most is if the cards worked the same way that the cards worked in the game Neon White worked. If you don't, I don't know.
Oh,
if you
where
know
it's
what
like
Neon White
Yeah,
for
that's
like
your
a first
ammo,
person
isn't it, in
view.
that game?
Yeah, it's your ammo. You switch between your cards to different things. So if you have something like first or third person where you go around and you choose the cards and like a more real time than strategy based,
Yeah.
it could be really cool. But that's the thing. We don't know what to expect from it.
That'll
It just
definitely be a
is a third
2025
person
game.
Yeah, third person stealth game of hardboiled espionage action. Will have you infiltrate your old witch coven using a cursed deck of cards in the rain-slick city of Taboo, where ritual magic and cursed artifacts set apart those with power
Mhm.
from those without. So, like, the premise of that sounds great. I just need to see the gameplay to see if it's my kind of thing. Especially when it comes to stealth, it very much
Mhm.
depends, because not all stealth is my thing.
And I noticed it says this is an announced trailer, so this actually could be not as far in development as we think. This might have been trying to get more people hired on to work on this specifically. So theoretically, this could be as far out as maybe 2026. And this is just an early first look at kind of trying to get developers into work. Like polish up the last part of the game or whatever. It could be a far ways
Well,
off.
I don't know who it's from, so it depends.
It says Riff Raff Games.
I don't.
Maybe
That
we
name
need
doesn't
to
mean
do some
anything to me.
research and see if Riff Raff Games is hiring. Because if they're trying to hire a bunch of people, we're like, yeah, that's a 2026 game. But if it's like, no, we're fully staffed, it's like, all right, cool, yeah, well, maybe we'll see it next year.
It's a funny name though, Riff Raff.
Yeah, because what a lot of studios will do is they'll put out like one of these like CG trailers to try to hype up the game just to
this
hire employees.
So this seems to be a new studio. I don't know if any notable devs anywhere helped make this studio, but all you look at on their website is upcoming games codenamed Smoke, which is what this game
Which
would be.
they
because
showed
it's-
a lot of smoke in the trailer, so that's got to be this, yeah.
Yeah, it's this because it's the only game
Mhm.
listed with the studio, and it just says an inspired third-person stealth action title with a unique twist.
So this will be their very
Which
first
we know
game.
it has cards. It's their first game, so we'll see.
Cool.
Hey, I'm all here good for a good indie game with lots of love put into it. Just need to see what it looks
Yeah.
like. So
If you got
We'll
good
see.
developers, I think it could be good. And who knows?
We'll
Maybe
see.
they'll get us back into the stealth genre.
We'll see. We'll see. It depends. Well, here's the thing too. If they call it a stealth action
Yeah.
thing too, right? If it's something
They
more
did.
like what Assassin's Creed is, where it's you're meant to be more stealthy parts, but it doesn't
Mhm.
restrict you to stealth, that I'm great with. I love Assassin's Creed because even though you don't have to be stealthy, you can literally play Assassin's Creed and not be stealthy at all.
Yeah, you can run around just slashing everybody.
Works along the similar idea to where you have a little more freedom. That would work. We'll see. We shall see. I mean, I'm interested. We'll just see what happens. See what comes
That'll be
up.
a far ways off. We just gotta wait.
We shall see. Yeah, I think that does it for all the game stuff. Do we have any rounding out thoughts on any of the games that we talked about before we move into our last main topic?
See if there's anything in here that really piqued my interest more than anything.
Well, here, let's give this overall showcase a letter grade. What would you all give it letter grade wise if you were, or however scale you want to use? If you want to use a cheese scale, Geo, go for it.
Trying to think what would be on each end of the tier, though. Jeez.
I would give this one personally a C- overall. They showed us some really cool stuff, but there was a lot of no dates listed on when stuff was coming.
I think that's any showcase nowadays, honestly. Because
Yeah,
I got annoyed for that
generally.
same exact reason with the new direct.
We only got, what do you say, 2 dates for this entire showcase?
Yeah, 2 dates.
And
but
either
that
the
seems
rest
to be the
said
new average.
2024 or...
That
And I
seems to
think
be
the
the new
reason a lot
thing,
of
which is
they've
annoying.
moved away from dates also is the fans were so locked in with dates in the past in, pre-COVID world. Now the development has been pushed back for years and years and years, and things take longer to develop now. They're not so much worried about dates. They would rather the game be polished before they announce a date now.
I think an important thing to just keep in mind about this, right, is you have to set your expectations for this, right? It's not a game or not a place where you're going to see big, where you see a big AAA.
Yeah, you're not going to see anything
everywhere.
huge. Yeah,
you're not going to see anything huge.
We saw. Let's see here. How many ports did we get in here? We got.
Well, let me see here. We
Final Fantasy is technically a port.
Oh, 2. My bad.
Persona 3 isn't a port. It's kind of a remaster.
Well, this is about the DLC, though, specifically.
Yeah, that's true. That's about DLC. So that's new content. Yeah, okay. Stalker, a port.
But that's a big port, though. That hopefully.
Chucky as a DLC. And then everything else is pretty much new. Yeah, so... Yeah. C-.
I would give this. I'm trying to figure out exactly where on the scale in between like a B or a B-.
And I'm kind of like going back and forth because some of the games were really cool, and then other ones were just kind of like meh.
Well, that's the thing, right? Not every game appeals to everybody. I think as long as there's a few games that looks out to you and be like, yeah, I'd play that, especially with stuff coming on Game Pass. And the important thing here is that it's called a partner preview, not necessarily a showcase.
That's a good point.
So we'll see. Because I guess when you call something a preview, that just means, okay, here's a look at these games, and you don't necessarily need
not
a
full
for it.
And they made it very clear that certain games, if you wanted to go do a more in-depth look, you could do that outside of this.
Yeah,
as well.
and that was nice.
That I did like.
And something I did like though is even though we got several repeated games, I felt like all those game trailers, for the most part, if not all of them, felt like it added something new to the game we didn't see before. And so if there's a game we're looking forward to, it made it seem like, okay, here's something new for you to look forward to that game, right? Like I remember seeing that last Berserker game before. I was like, okay, that could be interesting, but I have to see more of it. Well, okay, we saw more of it. Hey, I want to check out more of it.
We got to see more Steve. That's all that matters.
We saw more of that Capcom game that looks weird and has me a lot more interested in that now. And plus Game Pass, right? We do have some solid Game Pass things here, right? We have Creatures of Ava. that weird Capcom game we were just talking about. Persona 3 expansion pass. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get Final Fantasy 14 Starter Edition. The altars, and so that and Sleight of Hand, whatever that game is. Like that's my biggest complaint is that we know nothing about that game.
We know nothing about
other than
that's
just their
and that's
description.
probably why they put it at the end, because they're like, nobody knows what this is.
Well, that was in the showcase itself. It was the second game they showed. In the article,
Was
they
it?
didn't.
And the article
did its own thing, and that's like I don't know why they ordered the things they did in this article. Well, I think they did from like most popular to least probably, and or biggest to smallest or something like that. So
or just random. I don't know. It's weird.
well, they begin with Final Fantasy 14, which is obviously the biggest name.
That's what they
this-
wanted at the top of the article.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
And
the one
it's a
that's going to
big
get the
deal
most
getting
players.
What's that finally? So, but yeah, I'd say overall it was a solid B. I think there's a few games that look cool and a few games you can check out on Game Pass and some solid additions. I think it had,
Mhm.
I think I had I'd say overall a good amount of like variety to the kinds of games there is. So that's where I'm thinking. I'm going to say a solid B. What did you? What about your cheese
What's your
scale,
thing,
Gio? Have you
Gio?
figured it out?
What's your cheese scale? How much brie? How much Swiss you got over there?
No, it's Ronnie says in the chat. He's like, it says it should be Limburger. That should be the
Limburger
that should be
cheese.
like the lowest end.
They stink.
That's funny.
15-day-old blue cheese.
I mean, I don't know if I really even want to give it a grade, but I was trying to see like, okay, how many of the games announced would I potentially check out, and it's definitely less than half. So I mean, I don't know what their even intention is with this, so it's hard for me to be like, oh, this preview didn't exceed expectations or anything, right?
I feel like the biggest thing though is we got a big emphasis on smaller indie studios, right?
And it can't be
because you're not looking at bigger games here, right? Biggest game here, Final Fantasy 14, a game that's been around for many years now, right? And so at the end of the day, that's just a huge port, right? Persona 3 Reload's a big title, but that's the expansion pass that focuses on coming on Game Pass.
Yeah.
You have this big new Capcom game, but that's a whole new IP from Capcom that people are still trying to figure out what is this.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, there definitely was a few things I liked. So I have to, I have to mention that. So it wasn't, but I guess if we're asking, did it blow my mind? It's like no, but there was some good stuff.
Yeah, I'd say it was solid. Definitely some stuff that I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a look. All right. Well, that does it for the gaming, guys. We got one other main thing to talk about. The hand of Warner Bros. Discovery strikes again to now shut down Rooster Teeth. Yeah. Are you all? I'm going to assume you all are a lot more familiar with Rooster Teeth than I am. I looked through their stuff that they did. I have so many people telling me, "Hey, you need to watch Red vs. Blue," and I never got around to watching that. But I've seen a couple clips here and there of it. But there's definitely several other noteworthy things that they've worked on that, even though I've never seen that, I'm like, oh, I know what that is, or I know what that is. And so definitely sucks. But one thing that I learned about Rooster Teeth that they worked on that I didn't know, and maybe I don't know if I never knew this one going into it, was there's a on Netflix, they partnered with Netflix to bring there's a Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy. I don't know if you all know what I'm talking about, but it was like this cool Transformers animated series where it was like 3D animation. The models look more like their G1 selves, but they're like damaged a little bit. It looked like I really liked that animation. Rooster Teeth actually collabed with Netflix to bring that there, which I didn't know. Other than that, I haven't really watched much else from them.
I watched maybe like a odd Red versus Blue episode, maybe if a friend would send it to me way back in the day, but for the most part, I've not really watched a lot of
I'm
Rooster Teeth
sure you
stuff.
had a particular friend send you those.
Yeah, it was my buddy Whiskey. He used to send me stuff all the time, way back in the day when Facebook was still mega popular. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't really watch a lot of those. I specifically remember there were some funny character interactions and some of the dialogue that was very laughable. There's so much Red versus Blue you could watch for days.
For sure.
Yeah, I think
There's so many seasons of it, and they've done several other shows that weren't listed here. But yeah, the whole Warner Brothers buyout situation, yeah, it's when you have these bigger companies buy you out, you always kind of have that feeling in the back of your head like they could shut me down any day if they want to, and it looks like their time has come. But in entertainment right now, it's just that's the way the economy is. Starting in 2024, the economy is so bad. You got all these studios laying people off, game studios laying people off. It's just a rough time for everybody.
I think the bigger thing to look at this, and Matthew, I'm going to highlight this comment Matthew made, saying if Mondays were a band, they would be Zaslav. And this guy,
Yep.
I absolutely hate most of the decisions that he's been doing.
He makes the weirdest decisions.
He's canning finished movies. Some movies that even if they weren't good, they would absolutely make them money. And so I don't understand their whole strategy as far as canning finished products. You now have them canning a studio that I would imagine would be self-sustainable with all these big titles that they have.
They rebooted now the DC stuff going on, which is probably the best decision they've probably made.
That's the only decision I agree
The
that
only decision they made.
has done. The only decision I agree is
the
that
biggest one
he's established DC Studios as a separate entity like Marvel Studios.
Yeah. The biggest thing that kind of hurts me as a Harry Potter fan, though, is we're never going to probably get an official conclusion to the Fantastic Beasts story. They pretty much canned that. It just way it ends with the movies, which I understand they weren't making a lot of money, but it sucks that we're never going to get that ending.
Before Zaslav, I think that was never going to happen because that movie was awful and it did terrible across all fronts.
I enjoyed the first movie a lot. The first movie was fantastic. The second one was the one where problems started to happen. There's a lot of cool stuff in the third movie I actually really did enjoy, and I wish they would have continued further. But with many things in the studio realm, you're never guaranteed for a series of movies to finish, especially if you're working on a series. If it's a one-off movie, not a big deal. Cool. One and done. But with a series, you've kind of always got that thing in the back of your head, like, yeah, the studio could completely end my story tomorrow. If Disney wanted to end Star Wars tomorrow, they could, but they know it's a cash cow. They won't. As long as it keeps making money, they'll keep making movies. That's just it's business at the end of the day.
For sure.
So apparently Rooster Teeth was not making them a lot of money. That's basically what it comes down to, probably.
Supposedly not. I was just trying to look through this article, see what it says here.
Or maybe they're just trying to loosen up maybe some things that aren't making as much money. To put especially if they're putting a lot of investments into certain parts of their company, maybe they're trying to shut them down to put more allocated money towards something else. I'm assuming that's what it probably is.
So what they said in the memo, they say Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior.
So
and
that is literally what
platforms, advertising, and patronage.
Which I can sum that up really easily for you.
Nice legalese.
In the nice legalese way, that is the way of saying people don't have as much income to spend right now because the economy sucks worldwide, everywhere. That's what it boils down to. Do some people spend some money? Yes, but they're being more picky and choosy on where they're spending their money. So a lot of companies are laying people off. And on top of that, people forget when we were all at home during COVID, they hired a bunch of people to come work at these companies to kind of keep producing content and kind of keep milking the machine. So we would be entertained while we were still at home. But when everybody went back to work, all those companies realized we don't need all these workers anymore. And so they're shutting companies down. They're letting people go because they don't need them anymore. So now they're just in this tight predicament. And as you guys have seen in the news, and we've probably talked about this on the podcast for the last several months, it seems like every time we do a new episode of Rambling Red Shirts, we're talking about more layoffs. It just is what it is. So, and this will not be the last. There will be more layoffs. We'll probably talk about more layoffs next week or the week after.
Well, this is a situation too where I wish I had more of the details, but from my memory, because I guess I should say, as far as Rooster Teeth goes, I probably watched every episode of Red versus Blue. I got
easily
into
their most
that.
popular series. Yeah,
I got pretty big into that for a little while, but I wasn't really into a whole lot of their other stuff. I had a friend who tried to get me into Ruby, but I just never got into it. And
yeah, I know that's a
it's
big
neat.
name though.
But that being said, I remember hearing about them having some problems in the company for a long time now. So I feel like this is a long time coming. They've been having issues for a while, and I feel like this is kind of, it's like the final death knell, you know. Like, so it's not. I don't feel like this is out of the blue, you know. Like, it's not a situation where, oh my God, Rooster Teeth shut down. Like, a lot of people were expecting this to happen for a long time, and then it does mention, I don't know if this is the team that does that, you know, they have like a podcast apparently. So they says right underneath what I was just reading that they're going to continue doing that. And because it says, please note that the Roost team is not currently impacted by this action. The Roost Podcast Network will continue operating and fulfilling its obligations while WBD evaluates outside interest in acquiring this growing asset. So maybe their podcast
they
is
see
still
dollar
profitable,
signs,
right?
They see dollar signs. That's exactly what it is.
I know the podcast market is pretty saturated right now, but that being said,
it's oversaturated. Yeah. And
look
at us, we're doing a podcast,
right? And if they have an established fan base, then maybe that can sustain them. I don't know. Again, I don't know enough of the details to say more, but just based on that, maybe they, you know, it's not going to impact them financially as much as you would expect, hopefully.
And then you got to consider, like, doing a lot of these other shows like Red versus Blue or Ruby or whatever. There's got to be a large budget for production, much like any other show nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine with a podcast, the budget is much lower, way more affordable, and your talent's way more affordable as well. So, yeah, podcasts much cheaper to produce.
One of the big things that stood out to me was they talked about that they had the subscription video on demand service, which was later rebranded as First. I've never heard of this. Have you all heard of this?
I had heard of it. It was a few years back, yeah.
So anyway, at its peak, it had 225,000 paying members.
Wow.
Which, that's nothing to sniff at. That's a lot of subscribers.
Absolutely.
But it has now fallen off to 60,000 today.
Mm-hmm. Which is why they've probably decided to go a different direction, because there's just not enough there anymore.
You
can't keep all those people hired with just 60,000.
Yeah, it's over 2/3 of your subscribers.
2/3 of your audience gone. So I'm wondering what caused that. I wonder if it was just the economy or just lack of interest.
Could have also just be lack of content. Well, here's the thing too. I don't know where you can watch content
because you got to keep regular content to keep people subscribed.
Well, I feel like part of it is some of these shows are on other platforms, right? One of the shows they mentioned earlier, Genlock, I've seen that on Max.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby, I'm sure that's somewhere else. That's a huge
Netflix
show as well.
Even Red versus Blue, I think, was on one of the streaming services.
Yeah, I want to say I saw that on like Netflix for a while.
Yeah, I think
so. So it's never been a service I exactly need either if you're getting all these rights to it. And so
that might have been why everybody's shifting away from it, because they're like, why would I have Netflix and this if it's already on Netflix?
Yeah. I'd imagine though they'd probably get a fair price out of it though. And so And then,
But still, you lose 2/3 of your subscribers.
Yeah.
That's a huge blow.
well, I was just going to say though, if your show that you mainly watch on this service is also on another service, and it's like, why are you paying for this service for one
Exactly.
show if it's now on another service? Like, if you're watching it if you're paying for it just for Red vs. Blue, why would you do that if it's on Netflix?
Exactly.
Which you probably also already likely have. So, all right. There was one other thing here as well that I want to talk about. They talked about this RTX, Rooster Teeth, RTX in-person fan conventions that started 2011. I never knew this was a thing, but they did announce that the one in 2024 would be canceled. But then they also told them that staff at this event that has never been profitable as well. So that's interesting that they try to
It
hold
sounds like
these
a very
big
niche
events
sort of
that are-
convention
Yeah,
to begin with. And I imagine like the ones around 2011 and the years after were probably actually pretty successful early on. But yeah, in recent years, if they've been lack of content, like you just shown, like 2/3 of subscribers just left. It's like, is it really going to be that profitable? No, it's going to be a money dump.
supposedly there's a huge controversy with this Rooster Teeth as well a couple years ago. So that could have had a big impact. This is what I see is probably the biggest impact of what may have led to their downfall here. About staff members feeling experiences of being harassed, underpaid, and marginalized. So who
Yeah,
knows?
this might have been something that one of the things I heard about. If you said it was a few years ago,
Couple years ago and said in 2022, Rooster Teeth, oh my God, Rooster Teeth in 2022 issued an open statement of apology for hateful and hurtful conduct towards employees after years of coming from a former staff member detailing her experiences. And this was in 2022, yeah.
there,
So.
I think it's. I don't know if I quite would say cautionary tale. I'm sure a lot of the people got a great amount of success out of what they accomplished there, but they definitely once the bigger they got, it kind of came to their detriment a little bit, and yeah, and I'm sure the market changing, like it is a different place as well. I'm sure that factors in because you get to figure when Red versus Blue came out, that was kind of revolutionary in a lot of ways. Like not a lot of people were making that machinima kind of content.
Yep.
And then the market is like that's. I don't know how saturated I guess it is nowadays. But the thing is it popular either? So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think. I mean, at the very least, to end it and my thought on a positive note, I will say, what they did accomplish was I don't know, they did something special at the time, and there's a reason why I watched as much of Red versus Blue as I did. So I got to give them props for that, and I'll try to remember that aspect of them, and as far as the company being
for
gone.
sure.
But
yeah, for sure. Remember, because I definitely think they made an impact to a degree. Because even though I haven't really watched much of Red versus Blue, I've heard a lot about it. I know Ruby's a huge show there, and so definitely notable things that they contributed to the industry. So,
Yep.
Yeah. That about does it for us today. We don't really have anything else to talk about. I definitely
Anybody
feel
in
like
in the chat have questions for us?
Yeah, sure. If there's anything at all, anybody has.
Anything
I
silly?
definitely feel
We
like
need to talk about Steve.
Jack Black said he's going to sing in the Minecraft movie. So
big surprise there, Jack Black singing in a movie.
Is he gonna sing about a different kind of fruit in this next movie?
What movie was it again?
Minecraft
the Mario movie.
Oh yeah,
Mario movie.
Where he sings Peaches.
I just love chopping wood.
Chopping wood.
Frank has a question. What's your question?
My hand.
What's your question, buddy? Drop that bad boy in the chat
He
there for
wants to know when you can fly with him next.
In about 15 minutes. All right, bud. I'll see you there. Actually, I do have a funny moment I want to share. So we were on the other day. He was flying from
What?
Florida. He was flying from Florida up to New York in the sim, and I was leaving New York, going back down to Atlanta, Georgia. And he normally doesn't play on online mode. I normally do. But what you can do is you can send a group invite over Xbox. So I invited him so I could visually see him. And we crossed each other over like DC and Virginia. I could see him from like 80 miles away. I saw his little name tag. I'm like, hey, buddy, how's it going? Why does the dark side make cookies?
Oh, that's a very important question. Because
Gio,
the
why
dark
does
side is the better side. Oh,
The dark side's the better side? Oh, so you're team Vader?
Team Vader all the way.
All right. Gio, do they make good cookies at the dark side?
The dark side. What? Did I miss
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, Frank's comment. He wanted to know why the dark side makes good cookies.
Oh, there's
makes
a joke.
cookies.
There's a joke behind this, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies. So that's what it is, right? It's a meme.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, the meme. Come to the dark side. We've got cookies.
Yeah, that's an old. That's an old one. It's an
Fantastic.
old code. It's an old meme, but it checks out.
It's an old meme, but it checks. I need to use that more often. That's fantastic. Now, Spencer, I know you're not doing as much Dingus Den content these days, but what have you been reading? What are some things that you guys have been discussing over on Red 5 and elsewhere?
Yeah, okay. So, personally reading, I actually have a big stack of stuff here. So, there's a Lexington Comic-Con that I'm going to this weekend, and I have a freaking
I'm
stack
bummed
of
I'm not
stuff to
there
get
this
signed.
year.
Do you all want to see how big the stack is of stuff to get signed?
Show the stack. Show the stack.
It's gonna be a pain to bring around, but
for those of you guys who don't know, they have a bunch of comic creators who come
all
every
these
year.
single
and
issues to get signed.
he's getting a bunch of stuff signed.
I have all these, okay, and something I've never fully read, but I've been meaning to. The artist for V for Vendetta. This is my current read right now.
Ooh.
There. The artist here. I feel like that's a big deal because this is a. I feel like even if you're not a huge comic or graphic novel fan, there's probably a good chance you've heard of this.
Or the movie.
Exactly, the movie as well, right? It's huge. It's on about every single like top 10 or top 20 top like comic or graphic novel lists. And so, but my main stack here, guys. Oh shit! Hold on. This is gonna
Frank,
be
when is that
Sea
Sea of Thieves update, buddy? When's the Sea of Thieves update coming?
Here you go, guys. All this.
Wow, look at that. I love how that top one says Dr. Doom, the Book of Doom.
Yes. And so, yeah, that's a huge collection of different Dr. Doom stories. Yeah, I have a lot of different things here to get signed by a lot of different people.
Different people, I imagine, or
yeah, all by different people for the most part. Yeah,
you just imagine you pull up there to the booth and you just drop the stack on the counter.
Like, all right, here,
all these.
Let me figure out which one of this was.
And I actually, even though I'm not going this year, I was very happy to go with Spencer last year to Lexington Comic-Con. It was really cool. I got to witness Spencer getting books signed in person, which was fantastic. And then, of course, I think the highlight for us last year for you, buddy, was meeting Jim Starlin, which is just wild. And I have it on video, forever saved on my phone. And every once in a while, I'll be scrolling through my phone and I'll find that video again. I'm like, I got to watch this clip of Spencer meeting Jim Starlin. That's fantastic.
Here's so you bought a trade of this, if I remember correctly, right? And you got that signed there, right?
Sugar Keaton. I think I got it right here. Let me see. Where did I put that? I think it's down here. Hold on. Yes, I did. Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, you got the trade. So this is the first issue. I don't have the trade, but depending on money, maybe I'll pick up the trade.
Yeah,
But
Kyle Starks was there, and I got him to sign it for me there.
Yeah, I actually have. So most things I only have like one thing for each person, but I have
very nice guy too.
Several things for Kyle to sign because he recently did this miniseries.
I'm glad to hear he's back this year. Yeah.
He recently did this miniseries, which is awesome, about different Marvel heroes teaming up. He wrote a short story for this is the one I talked about last year that I meant to bring last year, but I forgot. It's this Thanos comic.
And who did that one?
Kyle Starks wrote a
Oh,
story.
he did
in
that
it.
one as well. Cool.
Yeah, and then he had a big release just recently come out, like a week or two ago that I picked up. I'd say about in the last month, and that is Peacemaker tries.
Oh,
very
that's
hard.
right. You showed me that, and when I saw the Kyle Starks name on there, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's
it's
great.
such a good cover.
This is great. It's awesome. It's if you're a fan of the Peacemaker show, you'd love this because Kyle does a great job of embodying the show in a comic, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, out of all the people I think we met last year, he was easily one of the coolest guys we got to meet there.
It's very nice.
So I haven't asked you what new comic people are coming this year that we didn't get to meet last year that you were excited to meet this year.
That didn't come last year.
Because I'm sure there's a handful of new people this year.
Yeah, I do have a couple that I can tell you. The big two to me is you got three. My bad, three. You're talking about Dingiston content that I've done or haven't done. The last video I actually uploaded on Dingiston was a Community Comic Club episode that talked about this story right here. The writer of this story is actually going to be there. His name is Jim Shooter.
Big name in comics, by the way. If people didn't know Jim Shooter, he's a big name Marvel creator.
Yeah. So his biggest thing is obviously writing this, which for the time, the biggest crossover to come, and they did this solely to sell toys.
Which I didn't know that until I listened to your episode. I was like, "Wow, that's wild." They wrote a comic book to sell toys, but it was just that era around
toy companies didn't view Marvel as big enough because BDC was a lot bigger.
Yeah, the 80s was all about toys.
Yeah, and then a year later, Crisis on Infinite Earths came out and blew this out of the water. So there's that.
Still, you make me want to pick that one up as well.
It's if you're a comic fan, it's a nice piece of history. If you know Inhumans, this is known to be possibly the best Inhuman story to read. The artist for this is going to be there. He does a lot of cool artwork. His name is Jay Lee.
Oh, Jay Lee. I think I'm familiar with that name. Yeah.
So he does lots of nice artwork.
Nice spreads, highly detailed.
So, and then the other name is he's worked on a lot of different things. He's written a lot of 90s Green Lantern, the era of Green Lantern where it was mainly Kyle Rayner. But then he also wrote a bit of Silver Surfer, and that's what I'm getting signed is. It's this trade, the Infinity Gauntlet Aftermath, which includes several of his Silver Surfer comics, like 7 of his issues are in here.
Okay.
And that he wrote, and so.
So where are you going to have him sign on that one? That's trickier with the trade. Are you going to have him do the front, or are you going to have him do like a certain page inside?
Probably just right on front here.
Right on the front. There you go.
Yeah. And yeah.
So I know you've been doing a bunch of other content outside of Red Shirts. Is there anything cool you want to plug that's coming up?
Let's see here. Coming up. I've been a part of Red 5 reading where we have been reading. I don't have the book right beside me, but we have been reading Star Wars: The Last Command. We get together Sunday nights, talk about 4 or 5 chapters at a time usually. And so that's been a great way because I've really enjoyed being part of that because that's been a cool way to let me read novels while also reading comics. It's a nice balance I found of being able to I could read a few chapters of a novel every weekend while still keeping up reading a comic during the week and 1 or 2 here still over the weekend. And so I've really enjoyed hanging out with them. Lots of awesome people over there that nice little group that we have over there now. And we're almost done with, or not almost done. Well, we're halfway through The Last Command. So we have 3 more weeks left of that. But after that, in
Mm-hmm.
April, we're going to be doing a book where anyone that wants to join is welcome to join.
Mm-hmm.
Is we're going to be reading The Martian after all these brackets on Twitter. That's what won. So we're going to be reading The Martian. And so if you want to join us to read The Martian over the course of April, let me know. I can get you invited in there. And then something I mentioned earlier that I never did get a link to. Let me actually go ahead and get a link to that really quick. Is I was on Rebel Rock Radio recently, where if you know Dingiston content, the first ever comic club I did was with him. And so I'm trying to get that pulled up here really quick. So I did that where we talked about Dune Part 2 for like 45 minutes. And then I also... That's not right. Hold on. I'm getting this pulled up. So there's the link to Rebel Rock Radio. Go check them out. They have an awesome podcast Tuesday nights. That
yeah, guys, click that link. Go check it out. Give them a plug for sure. Go give them subscribe.
Yeah. One other thing is...
Oh, yes, and click the link tree. Thank you, Streamlabs, for your automatic message. Yes. Follow us on social media.
One other link I'm going to drop in here for you all, too, is me and Blue. We've been doing a series of talk about MCU movies recently. We did, like, Iron Man 1 and The Incredible Hulk, like, last month or late January, but we've been busy to where we haven't been able to get around to Iron Man 2 until last weekend. So we talked about Iron Man 2. And so you can check out our new series there. We'll be eventually going through all the MCU stuff, hopefully. So
I'll definitely check those out.
Nice audio listens right there. So
yeah. So Gio, what do you got coming up in your world of cheese? Anything fun and exciting?
That's a good question. Nothing that I could really talk about right now, but got some ideas brewing, but it's just about what I have the energy to actually go through with. But yeah, nothing really right now.
And as for me, I will probably be doing some more flight sim streams very soon. We actually did one this morning. Had a lot of fun with that. We did a flight from Atlanta down to Miami. So if you guys want to see me flying through the rain into Miami, that VOD is available on our Twitch. I'm sure we'll have some fun streams coming up. Like Frank was just saying in the chat, the 6th anniversary of Sea of Thieves is coming up March 20th, and through the 25th, they're running an event. So we will probably, more than likely, myself, Spencer, and Chris will probably do at least one stream in that event, I would imagine. If there's exclusive items or bonus XP, we're going to try to help Chris on his adventure to Pirate Legend. And if you guys did not see Spencer hit Pirate Legend officially on stream, it was a momentous occasion. And I'm glad we got to have that on official stream for you, buddy. That was really cool to witness that. And
for sure,
our fans can go back and actually watch you become a Pirate Legend on the VOD. Yeah,
it was very cool.
And you got to open the special chamber in the tavern live on stream. That took a bit because you had to stand in just the right spot. It was being wonky. You had to keep playing that song, Gio, over and over again. And it was like, I got to stand in just the right spot to open the passageway to go underground. But he finally made it. We got him down there, and he got to see how expensive all the Athena items are. But yeah, we'll definitely be back later in March with some more Sea of Thieves. I'm sure we'll do at least one more Sea of Thieves stream between now and then. And of course, Chris wasn't with us tonight. If you guys want to follow him, you can find him over at the Pirate Knight over on social media. If you guys want to go follow him, go give him some love. He's also over on the Red Shirts Discord. So definitely go give Chris some love since he couldn't be with us tonight. And he will probably be back with some Disney Speedstorm and some other content very, very soon, I'm sure. And baseball's coming out, I think, in under 2 weeks now. And Chris is going to be streaming that baseball as soon as that comes out. So you guys don't want to miss that. lots of baseball content coming at you on
Lots
Twitch.
of baseball.
So if you don't like baseball, I'm sorry, you're getting baseball. Damn it.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of attitude is that?
Let's see here. Let's ask Ronnie J asks a quick fun question. Let's
Okay, there you go, Ronnie.
Let's go forward really quick. He says, if you could pick a map you want to add to the Battlefront Classic Collection, what map would you choose besides the newest ones they just added? So I'm imagining what he's asking here. What Star Wars environment would you want to play? Like, if you could pick to add any environment, what would you want to play in that classic game? I think for me, what would be great is Scarif.
Scarif would be fantastic. Yeah, I think that'd be really good. It played really, really well in Battlefront 1, and it did show up in certain game modes of Battlefront 2. It's not in all the game modes, but it is in Battlefront 2.
Stuff that was in Battlefront 2 was awesome when I played it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what planet wasn't in the original games that was maybe in, like, say, the sequel trilogy era. Probably, it's probably the easiest, or out of the new movies. I always thought like
environments.
Yeah, like the Mandalorian environments were kind of cool.
What's the town in Mandalorian that we've seen grow across all the seasons? That Grief Karga is there.
What is the name of that planet? Arvala 7 or whatever.
Town
That's
specific.
the planet where they found Grogu. I forget what they call that town. I have to go back and look at it.
That town would be awesome, though.
It's on the planet of Navarro, though. I know that.
Yeah, so
that would be a cool environment. Some close quarters combat, or maybe have part of the map where it's kind of out on the edge with like the lava fields, where you could kind of run around out there and be in the town too. That would be kind of neat. Trying to think what map hasn't been in there that would be cool in the classic collection. What's that planet? Oh, you know what would be really cool? I was just thinking about this. That casino planet from The Last Jedi.
That could be fun.
We never got a map. That would be really fun because it would play a lot like classic Naboo from Battlefront 2. Because if you ever got to play classic Naboo, it's very close quarters. They still got long open streets, so you have like long sight lines where you can shoot from really far away. But there's also tight corners where you can get in real tight and shoot people up close too. So
Ronnie J has a couple great suggestions: Dathomir or the Trade Federation control ship.
We never really got a Trade Federation control ship. I know we got the ship in, like, the outside of the ship in that Starfighter assault mode. We did get that over, what was that planet? Ryloth. Over Ryloth, yeah. So we did get that in the new Battlefront 2, so that would be pretty fantastic to play on one of those. Like, go inside and run around part of it, that would be pretty fantastic. Gio, is there like a planet or a idea of a place you would want to play for Battlefront?
No, I have no idea actually. Like, I was trying to think of like a funny answer, but nothing really comes to mind because they've already covered so much ground. Like, I'm not sure what else there is that that pops out at me. Maybe more stuff like some deep dive into some of the less popular areas from the original trilogy or something that I think maybe there's some stuff there that usually when they go to the set pieces, right? So maybe there's some stuff there that they haven't gone to that would make an interesting area to fight at, but it's not something that would pop out at you as one of the main set pieces of the films. So I think that'd be worth looking into, because it's not always just, obviously that's the first stuff you want to cover is the big stuff, but then the more you go on, it's like you can dive in a little bit more and come up with something more interesting. It's not just like, oh, nostalgia, I'm in the Battle of Naboo.
Yeah.
The biggest battle in Star. No, I'm just kidding.
Biggest battle.
No, but like I can't think of anything off the top of my head though. But I do like some of the stuff like like in Cloud City, there was a lot of interesting environments there, and even we don't get a lot of. Well, I guess that wouldn't really make sense. Some stuff you have to factor in, like who is there in the films, like Dagobah. Only Luke was there. Luke and
And Yoda.
Yeah, Leota, right? So it's like you wouldn't really
Or
do that, but
fake Darth
maybe-
Vader.
But yeah, I guess you could.
I was going to say that was a
Yeah,
big
but-
Battlefront 2 map was Dagobah.
Yeah, so,
That's right. It was in the original Battlefront. I do remember
so
that.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
See, it's like hard for me to even remember everything that's been in it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, nothing really pops out in my mind.
But as of
Fair
now,
enough.
that game is coming out. I'm glad Ronnie J brought it up because
Pretty
it's
soon.
coming out in about a week, I think, from today. No, sorry, 6 days from today, March 13th. They still have their 10% off on the pre-order if you order it on Steam. I know for PC users.
I might get it on PlayStation. It's
But
10%
as
off
of
on
now,
PlayStation.
it's 31 on Steam on
That's
sale.
the 10%.
I don't even.
Yeah.
Is it $40 on console?
35 normally.
35 on console as well. I think I'll probably
PlayStation
end up
has a
picking
10%
it up on.
discount.
I'll probably pick it up on Xbox, just mainly because of the 64-player online mode. When
That's a
they
huge
announced
thing,
that,
yeah.
that is the biggest thing. Because back in the day, it used to be 32 only.
I'm probably going to get it on
Oh,
PlayStation
yeah,
since I have more friends there.
That's
Sorry.
got to be an experience. 64-player Battlefront.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And I'll tell
It's a
you
lot
what,
of
some of
people.
those maps, 32 players is even crazy. So 64 is going to be wild. It's just going to be lightsabers swinging, lasers flying. It's gonna
Yeah,
some
be
of those
cool.
maps that are a little smaller, like Mos Eisley. That's gonna be wild. It's just gonna be chaos everywhere. I'm
Sounds like
so
a great time.
excited. Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Sounds like an absolute great
is there-
time.
Is there like a map you're really looking forward to going back and playing with 64 players, Spencer?
Man, I don't know. It is like my favorite Star Wars game because I played so much of it on PC.
It's so
like,
much fun.
I'm just so excited to just have it widely available. The only thing that sucks, my only wish is I wish I had crossplay so I'd be able to play with you on PlayStation. Because I've decided if I'm getting it, it'd be on PlayStation with other friends. But I mean, if I had a great sale on Xbox, maybe I'd get it there too. Just to be able to play with you. Because
I think I still
when
have it
it is my
digitally. I got
favorite
it.
one.
I think they dropped it as like a free thing for
Yeah,
Xbox Live Gold
did it
people a
once,
while
yeah.
back. So I still have the 32-player version. I'm interested to see if they're gonna like delist it or some crap when Classic Collection comes out. Because I'll be a little mad if they do that. I'll be like, don't delist that.
Yeah.
But I'll probably
Yeah.
play the newer version when it comes out, just because it'll have that 64-player mode.
Yeah, for sure. Good question, Ronnie J. Yeah, he's also asking about like other heroes and villains. There's so many options now.
Oh, and now
That's
they're
a whole
adding
other
what,
thing.
2 new, like 1 hero, 1 villain, I think is what it
So
was.
that was from
it was
Xbox content. It was Xbox
Ventress
content
and
originally. Yeah.
Mephisto, which are now going to be, I think, available to everybody.
Yeah, Kit Fisto, Asajj Ventress, and it's like 1 or 2 new maps that they're adding back into it.
Yeah,
so.
I think 2 maps.
All right. So yeah, I've already played all that stuff because it was on the Xbox version. If you have it on your Xbox with Battlefront,
I do. I haven't tried it out. I should.
Yeah, I understand why they don't do crossplay. Other games do. It's becoming a thing more the norm. I think it's just one of those older games to where I don't know.
They could find a way to do it now if they really wanted to.
It'd be a great way to grow the game. All right. Anyway, I think that does it for us, though. I already did all my plugs a moment ago. We all did. Obviously, everyone can find you, Patrick, over on Twitch whenever you do your flights every now and then.
You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Twix.
Does this have a segment? The flight sim?
The what?
Does your flight sim segment have a name?
It was called. Let me see. What the heck did I title this silly thing? Give me a second. I came up with a very unique name. It was Morning Bev in the Sky is the name of the episode. Morning Bev in the Sky. And if you just want to see my clip of me landing, I did clip that out today for
Very nice.
for Frank. And it's
you
called
go, Frank.
Landing Along in Miami.
Yep.
Because I did not land where I wanted to land on the runway. It was still an alright landing. It just took me a while to get down.
Just didn't land where you wanted. All right. Anyway.
Pretty much.
Yeah, check out click on that link tree that was just posted a moment ago. You can find us on all the socials, wherever you are. If you're an old timer, you can find us on Facebook. If you're a Twixer, find us on Twix. If you if you're on Instagram, we're there. We're everywhere pretty much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So any
Oh,
social platform, find us there.
Development Hell is coming out.
Oh yes,
Do not wanna
check out
miss that.
Development Hell. That'll be coming out probably this weekend, but we'll see. Yeah, Development Hell. That's a huge episode that we recorded it during charity weekend. We're gonna premiere it for everyone else to see after sometime this weekend, where it's the start of a new game show. We're looking to have so many awesome fun guests on the show, and it was a great time.
Shout out
there.
to John for being on our first episode.
Yeah, shout out to John over at Nerd Reactor. There you go, another plug. Where
Go
check
follow
out
him on Nerd
Reactor.
Reactor, guys. Nerd Reactor. He does amazing interviews.
He's also everywhere.
He's everywhere.
He does awesome stuff.
Literally.
So yeah, I think that does it. Anything else from anyone?
I think we're
You got
good.
anything, Gio?
We're good. We're good. All right, guys. I will see you all later, and have a good one, everyone.
Peace and
Bye,
love,
guys.
everybody.
There we go.